And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Inside Berm Weekly. I am your host with the most, Jake Keel. It's a great Wednesday afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Justin Condon. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of moving and shaking going on in the world of dirt racing. We've got a huge announcement to the World of Outlaws coming very, very soon. We have the High Limits Midwest Swing starting up this next Monday night. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit of NASCAR. What's going on with these short tracks? What's going on with the short tracks in NASCAR? Is it the car? Is it the tires? What's going on? We're going to dive into it a little bit. But man, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have a great day here. Happy 410. It's 410 Sprint Car Day. It's April 10th, 410 Day. It's a wonderful time to be alive, and I'm happy that we are ready to go. Like I said, I am your host, Jake Keel. We've got a few people joining in. It's been it's a great day. It's a great day to be a race car fan. And let's jump into it. Sponsorship. Let's get it out of the way. Jake's Dad Carbs, 405-640-6862 for your micro sprint carburetor needs. Spinebuster brand has some great shirts available that directly help us on Etsy, on TeePublic. Go get your Fairground Speedway t-shirt on Etsy, as well as your Inside Berm podcast shirts. More designs coming up daily. And your Bangin' Fenders and Sendin' Sliders shirt. It's a great shirt. I wore mine to the races this weekend. Got a lot of compliments. They do great work over there with Spinebuster Racing. As well as our presenting sponsor, Victory Fuel, flavored electrolyte water. Daily vitamins, your daily amount of electrolytes. It's kid-friendly with low sugar, caffeine-free, and no artificial coloring. That's right, no artificial coloring. Excuse me on this one. And if you want to directly help the show, go to patreon.com/InsideBerm, and you can become a member of the Inside Berm family. You can be a pit crew. You can be a pit reporter, crew chief. All the cool things coming on there. As well as I'm going to be doing some interviews this weekend. I'm going to be at Southern Oklahoma Speedway next weekend, next Friday night to be exact. I'm going to be at Meeker on Monday night. We'll talk about those here in a few moments. It's very, very exciting to be over there, but join Patreon. You're going to be able to see some of that stuff exclusively, early, and ad-free. It's a great time to be a race fan, especially a great time to be a race fan in the Midwest. Yes, a very, very happy birthday to Dave Condon. I wished him a happy birthday earlier today. And Daddy Dave down there in Lone Grove, Oklahoma. Love you, buddy, and I hope to see you very, 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 very soon. Jason Wayne, hello. Your first time commenter. I've never seen your name so far. Thank you for commenting, and hope you stick around. JR Wind, he's got his t-shirt. I've seen him wear it. Great friend of mine, and I will be seeing you Monday, my friend, at Red Dirt Raceway for the High Limit Sprint Cars, your first 410 sprint car outing. I'm excited to be there with you. Jason Wayne, yeah, absolutely. Creek County Speedway, great racetrack. We talk about Creek County quite a bit on this show. But today I've got a little homework. I'm pushing hard on this because, well, I work here. The Kubota High Limit Racing Series will be hitting the famed 3/8 mile Southern Oklahoma Speedway a week from Friday, April 19th. We'll also be live on Flow Racing, the High Limit Hustle, High Limit Sprint Cars, plus the great Southern Oklahoma Speedway Hobby Stocks. Gates open at 2, drivers meeting at 5, hot laps at 6. There will be a fan fest at 7 o'clock at the grandstands, as well as racing starting at 7:30. Grandstands will be $40. Purchase your grandstand tickets now on My Race Pass. You'll be able to buy them there. Pit passes are $45. You'll be able to buy those at the gate. You will not be able to buy those online, but you can get those at the gate. So let's talk. Let's talk sprint car racing early. We're going to have a lot of sprint car talk this week. I'm going to try to have a guest next week. I'm going to try to have a lot of guests going forward. But we've got a lot to talk about. There's big moving and shaking happening. And the sprint car world is ever changing, and there's always these big races happening. There's a lot of big money on the table, especially now with High Limits joining the fray. You've got 2 distinct groups that you can go run with in a 410 sprint car and make big money, as well as ASCS. You can make big money over there. But there's probably none bigger news today than Brandon Sheppard, famed World of Outlaws Late Model Series champion. He's won that 4 times. Will be trading his dirt late model in for a 410 sprint car at Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois on May 1st. He will be driving that for Jake Newman Racing and the famed B5. What a beautiful looking sprint car, but this is what I love to see. This is what I love to see. You see guys moving over, doing new things, trying new things, and man, it's fantastic to see this kind of crossover between these 2 parts of our sport. This is what I've been talking about. Like, a race car is a race car. Let's go race. Let's go race. Let's go to the races. Let's go to the races. Let's have a good time. I don't care if I'm watching a hobby stock or a sprint car or a dirt late model or modified. I'm going to have some fun. And that's what you should be doing too. You should be having fun. And I wasn't planning on really getting into this part of the conversation, but there's been a lot of Facebook posts about sprint cars lately and about how they don't like them. People don't like them. People either hate or absolutely love them. And I don't like it. I don't like this talk because these are race cars. These are badass pieces of machinery on 4 wheels that there's not many people on this earth that can do what these drivers do on a weekly basis. And I'd love to see you try if you think you can do better, because you might do better. But you will probably not. And yes, Justin, Cody Boatwright. Cody Boatwright was a big part of this weekend, and I love Cody to death. Me and him talked a lot at the racetrack on Saturday, but it straight up pissed me off. It pissed me off because here's the deal. A lot of people were saying, we'll take the wings off. It's not that simple. These cars are set up. Those specific cars that were winded out are set up for a specific rules package. Now, you can switch a sprint car to a non-wing sprint car very easily, but the sanctioning body that was running the races was a winged sprint car sanctioning body. So they couldn't just take the wings off the race car, because then it's a completely different rules package. It's a completely different set up under the car, and it's a completely different point status. And you can't just wake up in the morning and go, well, we're not running the winged program, but we're going to run non-wing, and it's going to be for the points for the winged guys. It just doesn't work that way. It's never going to work that way. Non-wing is a totally different beast. I know I've ran non-wing micro sprints versus winged micro sprints. They drive completely different, as do a 360, as do a 410, as do a 305. Excuse me. Allergies are getting to me today. But Red, I'm glad you joined in. Non-wing is a total difference. I'm gonna go through some comments that have been coming in. I do see where Cody's coming from. I completely do. It sucks. It sucks that the racing got winded out. But that show was all about those wing sprint cars. That is what the marquee thing was. And so a wing sprint car, whenever there are dangerous level winds, I think it was like 45 to 50 miles per hour winds, they can blow a sprint car right over with that wing. They're so light, and that wing just is designed to catch air like that on the side. And so it's not the first time I've seen it. It's not the last time I'll see it. But, you know, it sucks. It really sucks. And I hate seeing races canceled. It does. It does suck. But they made the right call for the sprint cars. If somehow they could have just ran the rest of the show, but I don't believe there's that many support classes. And when your marquee program is off the table, you run the risk of a lot of fans just not showing up. And I think that's the worry there, is that they were worried that nobody was going to show up since they called the sprint cars off so early. People were going to go other places. You know, unfortunately, you're not going to draw the kind of crowd for hobby stocks as you are a wing sprint car show. It depends on the area. The people that were coming to that race were coming to watch sprint cars. The hobby stocks were just an added bonus. That's what a support class is for. Exactly like this. Sprint cars, there's a lot of times that I go to races where once the main attraction is done, people start packing up and don't stay around. And that's sad, because I'm the type of guy that I'm going to stay the whole show because I want to watch racing. I want to watch racing. The race of the night might be a hobby stock race. I came there for a sprint car race, but damn, them factory stocks, they went off, man. They went great. So it just all depends on those things. And I wish that we could dome off every racetrack, put a canopy over them so that we'd never have to deal with weather conditions, but unfortunately we do. And that brings me to Saturday night at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. We had a great night of racing. We were booking it to get through that show because impending rains were coming in. We live in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is horrible with rain and storms and wind. And I'm going to pull up our results because the guys that raced deserved the recognition. We've already had one rain out this year with the Southern Stampede, and we wanted to make sure that it wasn't another one. And that's the glory of John Webb that owns the place. He is going to get that show in. And exactly right, Justin. I will watch nearly anything in racing. I used to be a little bit of a snob myself. I used to hate watching NASCAR. I've gone back and forth with it. Now I'm watching it every week because I just want my fix. And somehow flow racing isn't enough. I don't know. I don't know how that ever worked, but flow racing just isn't enough for me. I want more. And there's a lot that you can watch on there. IMCA.tv, all of them. But we got to the final heat race of the night. We had 2 heat races left, and rain started, and it started coming down hard. And we quickly got the cars off the track, and in a brilliant move by the promoter, he kept his track packing tractors out on the racing surface the entirety of the rain delay. And they were packing that track as the rain came down, and they kept packing and they kept packing. And after about 45 minutes, we were racing again. And in a moment that would end most race nights, Southern Oklahoma Speedway proceeded on, and it ended up being a great night. It ended up being a fantastic night of racing. We got those final heat races in, and then went straight through the rest of the show. No intermission from there. Went straight through. Got it done by 11 o'clock, which there's a lot of racetracks that can't get a show done by 11 o'clock, even with perfect conditions. So I was very happy to do that. Let's talk about the winners. IMCA Southern Sport Mods. He had to fight for it, but Tommy Dove won that race, and it was a fantastic race for the Sport Mods. We'll get to those later. Hobby stocks. We just talked about him. Cody Boatwright picking up his hobby stock win. Didn't even think he was going to race earlier that day. Was pissed off that he wasn't going to go to TMS again that night, and ended up coming and kicking some ass. He started on pole, finished with a win. Gotta give a shout out to David Hodebeck, who went plus 11 in that race. Put on a show, going from the back to the front. Great job, David. EcoMods Langston Fetty finally got the birthday boys in the house. Dave Condon. Glad to see you, buddy. Langston Fetty finally got that monkey off his back after 2 DNFs to start the season. He picked up his first win of the year, and everything just went right for him. And I'm really happy that he got back in it. And then finally, the marquee main event, the Tom's Modifieds were in the house. And earlier in the night, I told everyone, don't count out the driver of the 13J, Tristan Dykes. He drove through the field, picked up the win. When for a while it looked like it was going to be all Philip Houston, Tristan Dykes picked up the big win, and it was phenomenal. It was a great race. I love when the Tom's Modifieds come into town. Another really good shout out going from P22 to P10 plus 12. Sean Johnson from Marlow, Oklahoma, putting on a clinic, running up to the front. The Touring Outlaw Modified Series, man. If you get a chance to watch these guys, go watch them. It's unbelievable how good these drivers are, and how well they run. So after a 7-week absence, they were supposed to start racing, I believe, Friday. They were supposed to go back racing. No, they were supposed to race. They've already updated their schedule here, so I don't remember when they were supposed to start. They're supposed to go back racing in 2 days. The High Limit Racing Series is back on after 7 weeks. And I'm so happy that they're coming back, and they're starting their big swing here in the Midwest region. They're going to start in Texarkana, Arkansas. Then they'll move over to Texas Motor Speedway, then to RPM, then Red Dirt Raceway, then Southern Oklahoma Speedway, then Salina High Banks, back into Arkansas for Riverside International Speedway, then to 81, then to Lakeside, then up to Iowa. What a great few weeks of racing that the high limit series is getting ready to run. A lot of really good tracks on this schedule, and it looks like we're not going to have another big break like that. The only big breaks that we're going to have are for the Knoxville Nationals. So you better get ready, because sprint car racing is back. It is so back right now. Listen to this. 12,000 to win, 12,000 to win, 12,000 to win, 20,000 to win, 12, 20, 20, 50 to cap off this this Midwest swing. A lot of money to be made with the high limit sprint cars. And on top of that, the World of Outlaws. The World of Outlaws is coming through. They're starting to pick up steam as far as their schedule is going. I'm pulling theirs up right now. They're going to be at I-55 in Missouri, Paducah, Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, with which Eldora Speedway getting their first date on the schedule this year with the Let's Race 2. Always a great event there with the USAC sprint cars and the World of Outlaw sprint cars. All I'm saying is, there's never a better time to be a sprint car fan right now than right now. JR Wynn, like I said earlier today, I'm so excited that I'm getting to be there with you for your first experience of 410 sprint cars. There's nothing crazier on this earth than those cars. So let's talk a little bit. Let's move on to a different kind of racing. I was going to put up the banners real quick for those two big races here in Oklahoma. Red Dirt Rumble, April 16th. That is next Tuesday. I believe I said Monday, but it is Tuesday, which means I need to go change my my PTO that I took off for that day. So Tuesday night, 20,000 to win, 1,500 to start. It's going to be a wild race. The last time the 410s were at Red Dirt Raceway, it was one of the races of the year. That same week, they were in Southern Oklahoma Speedway at the All-Stars, and they'll be back this Friday night. Really, really great racing coming. Absolutely, Justin. Absolutely. 410 sprint cars do have the same effect as Viagra. Just the rumble of them, man. You hear those cars take off, the vapor trail coming off the top of them. It's phenomenal racing. So make sure if you can afford it and you can make it, check out those two tracks. It's phenomenal. I'm so excited to be there. So, let's talk about NASCAR real quick before we finish up today. Martinsville was this weekend. Martinsville, once upon a time, was one of the best tracks on the schedule. And so was Richmond. Bristol this year was a good race. It was a fun race. But since when has it become so difficult to pass at a short track? Martinsville was one of the most blaringly dull races I've watched in a long time. And I've sung the praises of this next-gen car. It's been really great. Sorry, I'm very stuffed up today, so I need to keep clearing my throat. I've been singing the praises of this next-gen car. I love the car, but this short-track racing ain't it. It's time to make some changes. It's time to try some things. Richmond was dull, and so was Martinsville. And Richmond was fun because at the end there was a lot of drama, but Martinsville, just there was nothing. You would almost think that it was a a fixed race for Hendrick with how much they dominated. And Hendrick's always really good at Martinsville. But with how much they ran up front, you would almost think it was fixed. And Justin, it's a big problem right now, but it's not just the tires. It's these cars, the way they're set up. They're set up for 1.5 mile racetracks. They're not set up for these short tracks. They're great on road courses. They're great on 1.5 miles. They're great at super speedways, but they have got to figure out what to do about these short tracks. A lot of it has got to do with how much downforce these cars produce. If they need to come up with a new nose that's specific for short track racing, I don't know, but it's not it. This isn't it. Here's a direct quote from Kyle Busch, someone who's always out there to speak his mind. I didn't think we could make it any worse, but golly, we did, for me anyways. Maybe it's because we don't have it quite figured out like others do, but I cannot follow anybody in front of me whatsoever. It doesn't matter if I'm in the bottom lane, the middle lane, the top lane. If there's a car in front of me, I'm terrible. It's really bad. The front ends are just ungodly not working. When asked, this is all from Speed Sport in a article made by Grace Wolbing. When asked what direction he'd like to see NASCAR go in regard further development of the package, it doesn't matter because they're not going to do it, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to paint myself in a bad spot to get in trouble. Luckily, we're not going to go to a short track for a while, which is something that I hate to say because I'm a huge proponent of short track racing. The next short track race is May 19th, the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro was excellent last year. I don't know what's going on. But North Wilkesboro is a chance for them to try some stuff. It's an all-star race. It's not for points. Try some shit. Try some shit out. See what's working. Because right now, it ain't working. We need to make this work. So, as a lifelong fan who's fallen off for a few years, who's back, something's got to happen. And whether it's just they bring the softest freaking tire they can and it wears off in 15 laps, something's got to happen to promote passing. And right now, you just can't pass. Domination at these tracks have been a real issue because you just got a guy that gets up front and he's just gone. Even at Bristol, there were guys that were up front all single day. And yeah, we had a lot of lead changes, but it didn't change the fact that at the end of the day, the same few people were up front. Justin Condon shouldn't have to be able to downshift to keep yourself from spinning out. This car sucks. Give me 900 horsepower with low downforce, soft tires. Put it back in the driver and crew chief's hands. I agree with you there. I don't think this car sucks. I think there are changes that can be made. If they could somehow lose some downforce at the short tracks, I'm fine with the car everywhere else. The car everywhere else is made for great racing. The horsepower thing, it's not going to happen. They're not going to put the horsepower back in these cars. They've already said, Kyle Larson said they could show up to the track next week with 1,000 horsepower car. There's that little changes that need to be happening to these cars. But I don't know. They've got to, whether it's a bigger spoiler, a huge spoiler, a fucking spoiler on the front, excuse my language. that goes across the hood or something. I don't know. Something's got to stop these cars from being able to make this much horse downforce at a short track, because historically at a short track you can get damage to the car and you can still compete. You can't right now. Can't at all. So NASCAR, you got to do something, or you're going to lose. You're going to lose fans, and you're desperate to make new fans right now. Now that I'm off my soapbox there, congratulations to William Byron and Hendrick getting their win on their 40th anniversary. It's awesome. That's just what needs to happen. There are ways to make these cars look how they want them to look and still function as a race car. So with that being said, I'm going to log off for today. This has been the Inside Berm. I love being with you guys each and every week. Go check out Southern Oklahoma Speedway this weekend. Go check out Red Dirt Raceway. While you're at it, get yourself a nice cold Victory Fuel, and we will see you next week. Later, guys.